Good evening, everybody. My name is John Cutfeet. I'm Inninuwug. I was great with Monica. And I'd like to thank Winnie for inviting us and for the opportunity to come and speak with you this evening. We have a very, I guess, long history of searching for justice in Inninuwug and around our territory. Up here we have some pictures. This was kind of a last minute thing just to give you an idea on what it is that we're trying to protect, what it is that we fight for, what it is that we stand up for. And at this time I'd like to thank our good friend David Zone, who's always been supportive faithfully right throughout the early days. And David's sitting over there. Thank you, David. And he still continues to stand with us. There's a lot of work behind the scenes for us. We're very grateful. I'm not sure if I put this thing too much forward, but I'm not a very technically oriented person. That's why we have David who knows things like this. I'm also trying to find my presentation. I did right. Now these are the KI6. Missing from there is Deputy Chief Cecilia Begg, the Chief Morris, Community Member Bruce Keith, Councillor Darrell Sednock, Councillor Samuel McKay, U.S. Councillor at that time, and Deputy Chief at the time, Jack McKay. I was the seventh contemner, meaning I was the seventh person found in contempt. But of course, I choose to challenge that, because I think it was more than just a mere civil contempt case. It was bigger than just being found in contempt. It was about rights. It was about the future. It was about our children. It was about our land. So I choose to file a constitutional challenge, and as a result, I didn't have to go into jail. So the message from that is you can challenge injustice. You can challenge government. And you can win. And you can make them pay for that challenge, which is what we did. They paid for all my legal fees. The finding of contempt was set aside. They paid for my lawyer. And they paid for the time that it took to try and throw me in, because we said, no, you cannot do this, because there are outstanding obligations to our people. And so that is why I, as the seventh contemner, I absolutely felt strongly that we could not leave things the way they were when people speak out about issues related to land, that they would run the risk of incarceration. But at the same time, the KI6, shortly after they were released, there were 2 new pieces of legislation that were introduced as a result of that. And so the various processes that we're engaged in our search for justice were victories. They were victories in the eyes of KI. However, with the government position that we have no rights, even though our rights are entrenched in Section 35 of the highest law of the land and Canadian Constitution, as well as the rights that we gained in our search for justice, when the Court of Appeal said that the government or the Crown has to realize that incarceration should be the last resort in these type of situations. First, there must be a duty to negotiate in good faith. In good faith. That is what the May 2008 Court of Appeal said. the government had that responsibility to negotiate on good faith to reconcile Aboriginal interests with other competing interests. And that means the interests of KI with the interests of the company. Just give me a second here. Is this the vote? Or are we back on the same? Are we on the same picture? Okay. Yeah, it's a slides. Just to give you an idea. This is also one of the times when David and I were at the Queen's Park pushing for the recognition of rights. And that's just one of the events that we were part of. Yes, okay, that's good. And of course, land, water. Trying to protect. You know, I was down at the campgrounds earlier today on St. James Park, is it called? So I walked through the park and I started thinking back to what has been Ontario's record when it deals with our people. And the thing that came back to me was the issue of Ipperwash. And that was the fight over a burial site. And why that came strong to me was because we now have an exploration company in our territory in a sacred burial site, exploring without our authorization, without our consent, without Ontario fulfilling its obligations to us to consult and accommodate us. And so I thought, well, you would think that they have learned from these type of situations and that they would not allow them to continue to go on over and over again. But I found my presentation too, so I'll get into my presentation. I don't know how much time I have. 15 minutes. So how much did I take? Greetings from KI. That's about 2,300 kilometers north of here, 600 kilometers northwest of Thunder Bay. And I would like to thank those of you who have always been supportive of KI as we in our search for justice. Truth, in our search for the truth, in our search for justice, not only for KI, but also for all peoples. Justice, or the implementation of justice, has proven to be very elusive for KI. While there are laws that are clear pertaining to our people, these laws have often been disregarded or likely decided in the favor of corporate interests. So as a result, the rule of law then becomes just another hollow phrase to us in our search for justice. Truth and justice, those are two words that remain absent in the lives of KI, as it relates to our experience with Her Majesty and her subject. Her Majesty and her subjects. That is who KI entered into a treaty relationship with. To get benefit, to share the benefits of this great land. We're still waiting. We signed on to the adhesion to Treaty Number 9 in our community on July 5, 1929, 82 years ago. Our elders believed that this was to secure our future, to secure a future for our children, for our people. So we continue to stand up and say, these are not the commitments that we made. You see our elders, this was at the dispute site where in February 2006, 2007, 2008, where we blocked a company called Platnex from coming in without our authorization. You know, the appearance of truth and justice in the lives of other people really resonates deep into my spirit because of all the years that we've pursued justice. You know, the appearance of truth and justice brings tears to my eyes when I see somebody enjoying justice. My eyes start to water because it gives me hope. It gives me hope that things will change for the better for the lives of our people, especially in our relationship with Her Majesty and her subject. So it's good to be able to talk to you tonight, to talk about something that's very near and dear to my heart, which is protecting the land. Protecting the land that has provided for us and nurtured our people for many years, many generations of KI members, and a land which continues to provide to this very day. So I want to talk to you about this blessed land. I call it the blessed land, but yet a land that is cursed with corporate greed casting its eyes in our direction, to our territory, wanting to devour and ravage its beauty and to spoil its pristine solitude. But this is not about disrespecting other people, but it's about staring into the eyes of reality and speaking the truth. It is about stepping forward and claiming what has been bestowed upon us by our God. It is about believing that we're placed sovereign in our territory by and under a sovereign God. It is with the belief that the lands, waters, and resources were freely given for our survival, for which we have had to take a stand to protect our inheritance. It's about taking a stand and accepting the consequences in order to be able to exercise our God-given right to exist and prosper as Kitchenuhmaykoosib and Inninuwug. It is about saying no more to outside forces which claim to do things in our best interests, as our community members languish in poverty. It's about saying no more to being told how to live in our own homelands, given to us by God our Creator. I'm not a lawyer, but I'll touch on some of the experiences that I personally encountered. You know, the fight for the right to exist is by no means over, and reconciliation